right, so it's good to be back. Not much change for us. Obviously, we have practice here coming up this afternoon. Just did a nice little walkthrough for our guys, and just nice to get them this morning for a normal day per se. It feels good for us to be in this thing, and now we go. It's go time.
It's been a really long preseason, obviously, but what is your mindset going into your first game as a head coach? What's your excitement level here?
Well, for me, it's not to try my best to not let the situation make you weaker in regards to overlooking things. I think what you need to do, and what I need to do, what our coaches need to do, our players, is as best as we can with the anticipation, try to keep it as normal as possible. But that's all within preparation. So, for me, it's been good. I've been able to, whenever I get some quiet time, be able to kind of sit down and situationally think of things that may pop up and how I'd handle it. This is my first time truly in a regular season game going through this stuff. So I want to try to be as best prepared as possible, and that's to prepare the team as well.
Generally speaking, what's your philosophy like if you have a strong defense or a weak defense or one you trust, how that affects your play calling and how aggressive you might be?
Yeah, with us it doesn't matter. It's a part of how that game's going that week. But whether or not we have the best defense in the league or the worst defense in the league, offensively, we're always going to do what we do. And then once you get further into the game and you see what they're doing, your opponent, and you see the situation of the game, then you might try to play a little differently than what your game plan might have been going into it.
Andy Reid has a good record in week one, preparing his team. It shows, and Peterson as well. Is there anything that you've gleaned from working for him that is a key to, being kind of ahead of your opponent in week one?
Well, there's that balance of preparation, and when I say that, it's trying to do too much. It's easy to do, especially the first week, just because you don't have that exact menu. You haven't done it yet. So meaning that you've gone through preseason, you're testing it out. You may be showing some things, you may be not showing other things as all teams do. And so where's that fine line of doing too much to where you pull back from your players and you don't let them play? And I think that's where Coach Reid, seeing him, how he's done that over the years, I've learned kind of that it starts not just this week on your opponent, it starts way back in OTAs.
Matt, has Roquan Smith had a full participation practice yet where he was just...
Well, he did, and it was in Denver. He had the one in Denver, and then the second day in Denver, he had basically a half a day until we started feeling it a little bit. So, yeah, but he hasn't had that really what you're getting to, which is days that are stacked with full practices.
What do you see as some of the toughest challenges facing that Green Bay offense?
Well, number 12 is pretty much as special as they get at that position. I have so much respect for him, for really where he's come from coming out of college, and then where he's at right now. He makes plays that just so many other quarterbacks can't make, and that's a huge weapon, as everybody here knows. So for us, we need to understand that, respect that, and try to eliminate whatever their strengths are. And that's where I think, with Vic, there's some experience there playing against Aaron. But in general, they're well coached. Their offense has always been productive. They do some really good things, and so they usually fit their offense into the strength of their players.
Matt, what are the defining characteristics of a Mike Pettine defense? So,
just from me knowing Mike, where he's come from throughout the league, starting with really Baltimore, then the Jets, then with Buffalo, Cleveland, and now here. He's always had an aggressive mentality. He's very creative. He does a lot of great things, and he can disguise what he does. He does it really well. And so I respect that. I think that when you're able to get your guys to play fast like he does by doing such creative things, it can make it hard on the offense, and in particular, really on third down. He does some really good stuff on third down, and that's a credit to who he's been and really what his philosophy is.
Is it still difficult to prepare for a defensive coordinator who's been out of the league for 2 years and who has new players up in Green Bay?
Yeah, it can be, For any D coordinator, offensive coordinator, for any of us going through this first week of preparation, there's always unscouted looks. So there's something that they'll have, there's something we'll have, there's something that every team out there is going to have, and how do you adapt to that? So, but his history in the NFL, the stuff that he's done, you know, you're not going to stray away from what you do. So you have the core of that, but how are you going to react to the other stuff?
Do you think the arrival of Mack ramps up the pressure on Trubisky in a way, or eases it a little bit?
Neither. I don't think that Mitchell cares one way or the other. I think what he does care about is that he's on our team and he's not chasing after 10. But other than that, it's not going to change how Mitchell plays. He's worried about himself and how he controls that offense.
How has a newness or element surprise that your offense presents, or is there enough on tape from Kansas City and from here that will be minimized?
Yeah, it'll probably be, it'll be similar to what you've seen. But I'm not gonna get into too much other stuff of that right now.
Matt, how has Mitch's preseason shown you that he is ready to run this new offense against defensive looks that you won't know or you don't know?
Well, that's a good question. For him, he's able to, he's got to play it out in his mind and know our stuff. And so whatever's presented to him, how do you react to that? It's going to be a reactionary game for him, and that's our job as a staff to make sure that he can do that. If he's worried about what he has to do with our stuff, then combine that with what they'll do on defense, that's not good. That's not advantage us.
You said that Roquan, did you say he first felt the hamstring in the second half of that second Denver practice?
Well, he started. There was a little deal there where he was starting to feel it slightly, and then he ended up after that. We just wanted to be real careful. So I don't know if that was exactly the time, but I know that that's when we first started saying, hey, we gotta keep an eye on this.
Almost 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Is that an unusual timeline?
No, not at all. I don't think so. Again, those are opinions, and those are ideas of myself on what we talk to our training staff on which direction we want to go. And I think that for him, he would have tried to probably try to get out here a little bit sooner if he could. But that's our job. We get paid to make sure that we make these decisions. And I did not want to put him in a position to where he comes out and he plays in the Buffalo game or the game before that, the preseason game, where he does something. And now we don't have him for this week. I just wanted to be real careful with that.
Yeah, what have you come to know about the rivalry with Packers and how important this game and these games against the Packers are to the McCaskey family?
Oh, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And it doesn't, we don't need to talk about it too much amongst each other, but as a team, we will. And so what we'll do is we'll discuss it. We'll educate them on the history and the tradition and what it means to so many different people in this area and in Green Bay. And but we don't want to get to a point to where you're worried so much about that it takes away from what you're doing, with your assignments. So it's important. We get it. It's also first game of the season on the road. Us as a kind of starting this new thing going on here. So there'll be some challenges for sure.
Matt, what stands out to you about that Packers defensive line?
Well, 76 is a hell of a player. He's very disruptive. So you got to know where he's at. I think that in general, those front five guys, those three on the inside, and then you're dealing with Perry and Matthews out there. That's tough now. That's some experience there. That's guys that believe in themselves. I think if you'd ask them, they have a lot of confidence in themselves. They play that way. So we got to understand that and know that, and then we got to try to do what's best to figure out how to attack them.
That first meeting you had when you talked to guys through some of the history of the Bears.
Yeah.
Did the Packers come up then?
I'm trying to think in that meeting. I don't remember if it did. I think we were more focused on kind of who we are, and we weren't really focusing on. Man, that seems like a while ago.
Allen Robinson, didn't catch the ball in preseason, didn't play a ton.
Yeah.
What impression does he leave on you coming out of the preseason here? Some of the stuff behind the scenes.
So, the catches in the preseason, I'm not. He hasn't played a whole lot, so those catches don't don't concern me at all. What I've seen in practice, I know that he's going to be able to go out there and play fast. He knows what he's doing. I have 100% trust in him as a player. I know Mitchell does too. Now they got to go out and do it underneath the lights. And I think the biggest thing that you'll see for him, as to your question, is going to be those contested catches. So when those DBs are clamping on your back and you got to make that contested catch, that's the one where in practice you might not see as much. So, but him being a veteran, I think he'll be okay with that.
What allowed Anthony Miller to so quickly adapt and adjust to this offense to the point where you didn't feel like you maybe had to play him in a couple of those preseason games?
So, he's a kid that has extreme talent that we're trying to keep an eye on in regards to the mental side of it. So we knew physically he was flashing in practice early on. And then he has that confidence. When we drafted him, we told you he has that confidence. That showed up. But he had to control it to where it's not a cockiness. And so he made some plays that jumped out to us. We understood, how he was going to start fitting into this offense and what role. And then what we did is we kind of pulled back and said, okay, now he fits physically, but where does he fit mentally? And so over those last few weeks, we've been trying to test that out, and then he fell into that range for us, whereas in the preseason games we wanted to be we felt like he's okay with where he's at, and now we'll just go ahead and figure out where's the best spots for him in this upcoming game.
Matt, you talked about coaching your first ever game. What do you feel like you learned about coaching in the game during the preseason, and how confident are you heading into your first ever regular season?
Well, I have a lot of confidence because I believe in our staff and our players, and I feel that way. I've told them that. They help make my job easier. Now, there's the stuff that you can't prepare for. We can sit here and talk about preseason all we want, but it has nothing. It's nothing compared to the game, a true game environment. And the same thing said that when you go to the playoffs, the regular season is nothing. So I'm going to find out. I'm going to be tested myself individually. I guess what I'm made of and how I control this team in those situations. And hopefully I feel like I've been prepared by one of the best in the league in Coach Reed. And so that's what I'm going to rely on.
Matt, for those players, a big portion of your starters who haven't played football in 3 weeks or
Yeah.
the game, what types of things have you done to make sure they're ready to go?
Yeah, we've been conditioning them as much as we could on days off and then after practice. Again, your energy gets cooking. You get rolling. You're underneath the lights. Some guys haven't had that contact. This will be the first time, like you said. So we'll have to monitor it. We'll see where they're at. And then they got to be able to be honest with us and communicate to us where they stand, how they feel physically and mentally. And then we tie it all together. We trust in them. And then we got to remember here, this is a long season. So I want to make sure that we're smart in everything we do. Thank you.
That's fun. Single day also. And now it's like one goal with them.
Hey, Mitch, do you still have some unknowns or question marks heading into Sunday, or do you have a pretty good grasp of what this offense is going to look like on Sunday night?
Yeah, I have a really good idea of what this offense looks like and where we're at and how we just need to go about our business and execute our plays. The more the mystery is what they're going to run on defense. I'm sure they haven't shown a bunch in the preseason, but we know what the defense coordinator has done in the past. So you just try to be prepared as much as possible and then go out there and expect to execute your plays correctly and make the defense adjust to us. So that's what we're trying to do, and I feel pretty good where we're at.
Mitch, where were you
Since
Saturday?
Matt Nagy came in and you started learning this new offense.
Sorry?
Since Matt Nagy came in and you started learning this new offense and diving into it, how much have you waited for this week and this weekend?
Oh, yeah, I've been waiting the whole time. A lot of anticipation going up to the game. I think just sitting out of a couple preseason games has just made this whole process that much more exciting, makes me more antsy to get out there and get on the field and just go out there with my guys and try to make plays. So a lot of anticipation leading up to the first game. It seems like it's been a long off-season, preseason, training camp heading into this opportunity, and I know the guys and myself are very eager for this game.
Anything special for you about opening up at Lambeau Sunday night and watching?
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be special. Obviously, you know the history of the rivalry, and it's a great opportunity on Sunday night. I mean, as a kid, you dream of these opportunities, going to a special field like Soldier, Lambeau, and playing a rivalry like this. So it's definitely special, but no more added pressure or expectations besides going out there and do our jobs. But it is going to be a special night, and it creates a great opportunity for this team.
It's a different offense, but what about your experience last year in 12 starts helps prepare you better for what you're about to play on Sunday night?
Yeah, definitely. There's no substitute for game reps. So the more reps you see, the more defenses you see, the more and more comfortable, and the game starts to slow down just from going against that one defense, going through the fire, underneath the lights, and all that. So the more reps you can get, the more comfortable you get, and I feel like everything that I saw and went through last year is going to help me make me more comfortable this year. And then for me, it's just relying on my teammates, the new guys we brought in, us just being healthy going into this game, and with the new offense and the comfortability that we have from this off season, just repping it and where we're at with the offense. I just feel comfortable and ready to roll.
How excited are you for some of the unscouted looks that you guys are going to be able to put out on Sunday, just not having put those on film during the preseason?
Yeah, I feel good about it because they have stuff that we haven't seen, but we also have stuff they haven't seen, obviously. So that's the mystery heading into week one, and you just hope that those plays that you've been saving end up to be big plays and just help this offense roll down the field. But we know for us it's positive drive starts, converting on third down, keeping the chains moving, keeping our defense off the field, and ultimately scoring points. So if we do that and just continue to execute the bread and butter and not always rely on the complicated plays that we've been saving, that's when this offense can get to a special level, hopefully.
What was your reaction when you heard about the trade for Khalil?
I couldn't believe it. I'm really excited he's here. I don't think anybody was anticipating that. I don't know if you guys were. I definitely wasn't. But when we got him, it just seemed like wow, that's pretty cool. I texted Ryan, and I was like, because you hear the rumors, and I was like, I'm not going to believe this until I know for sure that it's true. But those type of players don't come along very often, so we're lucky to have him. We're happy to have him, and just from the first couple of days he'd been here, you could tell just the way he carries himself, how he wants to work, and how he wants to affect this game and be a part of this team. It's going to be great for this team and this organization to have a guy like that.
What do you think a realistic goal is then for this team this season?
Sky's the limit. I have very high goals for myself and this team, but you try not to look ahead and then you don't look at things as a success or failure. You try to look at it one game at a time, and we got a great opportunity this week. So right now I'm just focused on learning the install for this week, going out to practice, having a great practice, and then stacking a couple days, and then just taking care of our bodies, getting ready for Sunday. And when we go out there, then just leave it all on the field, and hopefully after week one, we're sitting in a good spot, and then you go from there. But we all have the end game in mind, and everybody's thinking where we can be at the end. But you got to take it one game at a time and kind of see where we're at and go from there.
Is it possible for you to describe the difference in how you feel going into this primetime game against Green Bay as to how you felt last year going into your first game in a primetime game?
I still feel excited. The excitement, getting ready for first game, for first start of the season, whether it's last year or this year, is always exciting. I feel a lot more comfortable in my role. I feel a lot more comfortable with the offense and what I need to do, and having more responsibility on my shoulders, and just being more of a leader this year and more vocal, and having guys look at me. And I just feel like I know my job and I know what to do, and I'm just a lot more comfortable and excited for the opportunity to just go out there and play with my guys. So we've been waiting a long time. Seems like the longest offseason being those 5 preseason games, and us not being able to play a little bit. So we're very anxious to get out there and just let loose.
Even though you didn't play a lot in the preseason, you seem to have a rapport with Trey Burton. What all factors into this? Just reps at practice, or
Definitely the reps at practice, and the reps we weren't getting in the games, we were throwing the day of the game and many days before that. So just all the timing, the repetition, the routes we ran, and then just building that chemistry on and off the field with Trey, with all those guys. So I feel really good with where we're at chemistry-wise between me, the tight ends, receivers, running backs, and all of that. just with the amount of reps that we've had in practice. But it has to translate to the game. So it's everyone knows it's different from game to practice the game. So we just got to go out there, everyone do their jobs, and hopefully the timing, the chemistry that we build pays off in the game.
This is your first time going head-to-head with Aaron Rodgers. I think Brett Hundley was the quarterback last time. Is that significant for you? Did you look up to him at all?
Is it significant for me? It's a cool opportunity. Obviously, if you follow the game, which I do, and if you watch the players who have had a lot of success, which I do, you'll see that he's had a lot of success, and I've watched what he's done, and I have a lot of respect for him, and I'm just trying to go out there and help give my team the best opportunity to go out there and win. And I'm trying to earn my respect the same way he has. Just create good production, be a great player in this league, and do that consistently over a long period of time. So it's really cool to have that matchup. But it's nothing more. It's nothing more than that. I still got to go out and go against their defense and make sure my guys are all on the same page to give us a great chance.
You said you texted Ryan to make sure the Khalil news was real. Did he respond right away?
Not right away. Not right away. He got back to me later, so it was good news. But it was very exciting for us.
How did you first learn of that news?
I was at my house, and I was actually still sleeping, enjoying an off day, which I don't get to sleep in much now. But someone came in my room and was like, "You guys just got Khalil Mack," and I said, "Get out of here! Like, leave me alone. I'm going back to sleep." And they're like, "No, you're serious?" And I said, "No, you're making me mad. Get out of here! Like, you can't wake me up with that kind of news because you just don't believe it." But he's here. We're ready to roll. Getting ready for week 1, and we're excited about it.
Who was that came in your room?
It was my mom. My parents were in town this past weekend. Yeah.
Can I go to? Does adding a player like Khalil Mack to the defense, does that add pressure to you in this offense too?
No, not at all. I think if anything, it takes pressure off us. I mean, what is pressure? There's going to be a lot of it. There's going to be a little of it if you pay attention to it. But I don't. I know he's a great player and he's going to help this team. But as far as I'm not going to throw to him, he's not going to score touchdowns, so that ultimately falls on us. So we just got to go out there and do our jobs. I know he's going to make our team better, but definitely no added pressure. And I think it's just going to add more excitement to what this team can accomplish and what we can do. But we know we just got to continue to come together as a family, become more tight-knit, and just believe in each other and believe in this plan that we've been brewing up this whole offseason. So we're excited.
Mitch, you said that he's already made an impact, just the way he carries himself around this team. How have you seen that on the football field? How has he made an impact on that defense over what you've seen?
I mean, he carries himself like an alpha. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's a savvy football player, and then you add his just athleticism with all the intangibles, him being a leader, and you could tell he's about his business. He's here, he's ready to work, and I mean, not much needs to be said when you can just tell from people's actions. So that's what we're trying to get to as a team. Just stop talking about it and just really be about it and go out there, execute, and make great plays with our actions.
Mitch, do you
help you facing him in practice elevate your game?
Yeah, well, I haven't faced him yet. We're going against some scout teams, so we haven't been ones-on-ones yet. But him just working with the other outside linebackers, DNs, him showing the rush moves, him going against our tackles. And, I mean, when you get that competition going against a great player, it's only going to rub off on other people and help them amp up their game to a whole new level. So the more competition we get on this team, I think the better we're going to be and head into the future.
Mitch, you said you don't play favorites with your receiver, but can you, as a quarterback, can you see a favorite receiver developing with a certain connection or chemistry you have, kind of like Rodgers had with Jordy Nelson? Do you see that kind of thing developing as you grow in this offense?
Yeah, you can kind of see that thing develop, but you still don't say if they're your favorite or not. You kind of you'll never say your favorite. I love all my guys, but it's fairly obvious to me and to you guys who's always open when they're coming down with catches and hopefully a bunch of touchdowns. So we just got a great game plan. We got to believe in that, and if everyone does their job and the O-line just continues to protect like I know they know how, and we just go out there and do our jobs, have fun. There's a lot of great opportunities for these receivers, and the favorite, you guys could label it however you want, but my favorite is whoever's coming down with football. So we'll see how that goes.
When you look at the Packers' defensive front, what makes Mike Daniels so disruptive?
I mean, he's just a great player. The way he comes off the football, how he uses his hands, he can be very disruptive. So you got to definitely respect that, pay attention to that, have a plan for that, and try to tire him out and just go at him. So he definitely has our respect along with the other guys. They got a bunch of really good veterans on that front and some outside linebackers that we know about. So we just got to pay our respects and do our job, try to tire him out, and make sure he's always accounted for. So he's a really good player.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thanks, Mitch.